it had been almost 3 decades since black people in South Africa and indeed around the world had seen Nelson Mandela in public. He had faced imprisonment with defiance.
I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an idea for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an idea for which I am prepared to die.
To meditate, I send a message out.
Death was not demanded, but life, much of his, was forfeited in pursuit of that ideal. South Africa's anti-apartheid movement was at its height in 1964, when Mandela and 7 other activists were imprisoned. The man who, by another name, was christened "one who brings trouble onto himself," would spend the next 27 years behind bars in a fight to ease the troubles of his people.
Free, 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 Nelson Mandela.
His release in 1990 marked a major turning point in the country's history. On July 18, 1918, the son of a Tembu chief was born in a small village in the Transkei province of eastern South Africa. He was christened Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. As a young boy, he enjoyed farming and engaged in other boyish pursuits. His schooling, right up to the time at the University of Fort Hare, was a first for any member of his family. Other firsts would be logged, and the catalyst might have come in 1939 when, in an attempt to escape an arranged marriage, Mandela moved to Johannesburg, bringing him face to face with the system he would dedicate his life to fighting.
It's a system of racial oppression in which basically the majority of South Africans were disenfranchised. They were denied all kinds of rights, political, economic, social rights. This obviously was exercised by a white minority regime against, not just against black South Africans, who were the majority of the population, but also against colors, which are known, that's how they know in South Africa, but it's mixed people, and also against Asians, or people of Asian origin.
The system of racial segregation, apartheid, existed in South Africa from as early as 1910. It was made more formal and more widespread with the victory of the National Party in 1948. Earlier, in 1943, Mandela joined the African National Congress, ANC, and through it, the struggle against apartheid. Mandela and the ANC engaged in passive resistance to the segregated policies, until later being forced into armed struggle, prompting a government ban on ANC activities.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people.
Mandela's actions were not overlooked. In 1962, he was captured, escaped, and went into hiding. 2 years later, he was recaptured and sentenced to life imprisonment. From behind the bars forged from apartheid, Mandela continued the fight. Inspired by his stance behind those bars, the movement found new energy.
The leadership of ANC is going to decide that they're going to make Nelson Mandela the icon of this struggle against apartheid. And that's when they started a campaign, the Free Mandela campaign. And the struggle against apartheid became much more popular, not just in South Africa, but elsewhere, in particular in Western Europe and North America. Everybody came to know the sufferings and the injustices that black South Africans were undergoing through the face of Mandela and through this campaign to liberate and to free Nelson Mandela.
The strategy was successful, and worldwide sanctions against South Africa, coupled with widespread resistance within its borders, eventually forced the government to rethink its apartheid policies. Mandela was released in 1990 after successful negotiations with the white government, led at the time by Frederick Willem de Klerk. Within months of his release, he was able to convince the government to establish a multiracial democracy in the country. He was elected leader of the ANC in 1991. Then, in 1994, the inmate from cell 46664 made the transition from prisoner to president when the ANC won South Africa's first democratic elections and Nelson Mandela was named president. Mandela and de Klerk shared the 1993 Nobel Peace Prize for their work in ending apartheid and laying the foundation for a democratic South Africa.
The time for the healing of the wounds has come. We enter into a covenant that we shall build a society in which all South Africans, both black and white, will be able to walk toward a rainbow nation at peace with itself and the world.